My name's Lynne Turner and I'm the sculptor of the Lake Swimmer. Clay was my first passion probably, I won't say how many years ago, but a long time ago, and we all went down that path of throwing pots and things. But I've always had a passion for the human figure. I love so much work that comes out of Europe, like Matthew Talbot. He is just amazing with the human figure, but then the ancient human figures, well, they're not ancient, but the Michelangelos and the Rodins and all the rest have me just so fascinated, because I'm just really fascinated in three-dimensional work rather than two. So about 10 years ago, I met up with another sculptor from Sydney, Michelle Petrie, and Michelle urged me to get back into it. So she was the starting point for me doing work with clay. So this is a terracotta piece. It's completely hollow. So you've got to work around an armature that holds it all in place, because, do you start work at the bottom or do you start work at the top? And in some works you would start at the bottom. This particular piece, I did the head first. It's completely hollow. So you've got to keep it wrapped in plastic, and so that you can keep working and joining your clay together. She's obviously a swimmer, and I live beside the lake, probably the best place on earth to live. And there used to be a competition or a race around about April each year, where about 300 people would gather on the edge of the lake, and then they'd swim across to Belmont. Now that stopped about 12 years ago, which is a shame. I think it was probably the scariness of the possibility of sharks, but people just absolutely loved it. And so I've always been fascinated by people who swim in the lake and still swim in the lake and exercise, so that's the way we do it. So she's made of clay, terracotta clay. It took me about 2.5 months to complete it. It's actually in two pieces, because you've got to limit the size of your work to the size of the kiln that you're firing it in. So after it's totally dry and you've got the surface treatment done, you take it off to be fired, and then you bring it back and decide what you're going to do next. I sometimes glaze my pieces, which means another trip down to the kiln that I use, or I use bronze resins. Now the thing about using the bronze resin, though it's clay, it can be put outside, because you do a treatment over the whole piece which waterproofs it. After that you can start doing your bronze resins. Now she has about 12 coats of resin on her, so it's really thick and it lasts really well. And when you're doing your very last bit with the resin, the last coat, then I start using acid patinas, which give the different colours. So you'll notice there's a little bit of red up here, and down here there's the bluey green colours. So that's just two different types of acid that go on. That acid then develops over a period of hours, and you can actually, when you get the process just right, the amount of acid that you want or the amount of patina that you want, you actually stop it by washing it. After that, it has a coat of clear lacquer on it, just so that it preserves it. And off you go. Done. I drew inspiration firstly from the lake, and I'm very lucky to have a studio that's right on the lakefront, so that I see that being able to look out and see the tranquility, the peace, the absolute beauty of our Lake Macquarie, and that drew me to thinking all the positive things that go with this otherwise negative period. So I thought she was just a good way to go.